All right, Shalom. I want to start off as always, giving our praise and glory unto the power, shooting for the most. The one is unto the apostle of the great millstone, the peace of blessing unto the elect. I'm on the road right now, man. So I just want to do it in transit for the early morning getting it. Uh, been ripping and running all morning. Finally got some space and time to get the work in, as I normally do every day. And so, in this lesson, man, I wanted to compare this truth, man, to driving on the highway and getting to your destination, right? I'm pretty sure most brothers and sisters out there have drove in a car before. They have been driving for years and have faced many situations on the road, right? Whether it be an accident, flat tire, whatever part issue that you had, um, you've been through something over your years of driving in a car. I want to compare that to being in the truth, all right? When you first come into the truth, man, it's just like, you learn how to drive, right? You learn how to drive in a car, um, kind of nervous, you don't know what to do, but you're excited that you're driving, right? And as you learn how to drive, you're getting comfortable, okay, with the mirrors, you're getting comfortable with, the lanes and how to back up and how to parallel park and different things like that. And when you get comfortable, so to speak, you start to um, try new things, okay, as you drive. And the same thing happens for you in the faith. Once you learn this truth, I said about 5 years into the faith, you get a little bit settled, okay, you understand what you're a part of in the faith, and you start to get a little comfortable because you started to, learn things and, doing what you do. But that's a mistake, okay? Getting so-called comfortable in the faith is a mistake. And that's the same thing with driving. If you get too comfortable with driving, man, you'll develop some habits, okay? Some habits that you don't want to change and some habits that aren't good. You can still make it to your destination, right, with these certain habits, but you could get yourself messed up, all right, if you don't, change those habits about your driving. Same thing in the shoe, okay? And until you run into a situation, um, you wouldn't know how comfortable you were, okay? Until you have an accident, or something happened, bad, you wouldn't know how comfortable you were with driving, okay? And you thought you were good, because you've been driving, for these many years. So I know how to drive until you have an accident, until get in a crazy situation. Like, oh, damn, I need to be, paying attention and stop texting and driving, okay? Because that's a bad habit. And you could be a person that can multitask, right, as you're driving. But multitasking as you're driving ain't a good thing to do, bro. When you're driving, you need to be driving, bro, okay, and not texting, okay? Because eventually it's gonna bite you in the ass. Texting and driving, or texting and scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, eventually it will bite you in the ass, man. And you won't notice it until it happens. Same thing with the truth, right? You can be doing things in the truth, whatever you do, going out, doing this or doing that, and you know, you think that nothing will happen to you until it happens. Then you're gonna be like, oh damn, I don't need to be out here with these niggas. Ain't no wrong with going out, but you can get caught up in your ways, okay? And you think that, oh yeah, I can go amongst Jake and I'll be good, you know. I'm in the truth, so I ain't got to worry about it. Now you a lie, a damn lie. You go amongst Jake you want to, okay? Go amongst Jake you want to, man. And you'll find out quick that, okay, I don't need to be amongst these people. Even in the book of Isaiah 64 in the NLT Bible, it tells you that it's a danger, even in getting close to Jake, right? It's a danger, man, because we know that Jake is about wickedness. So you want to keep yourself pure, man. Always trying to abstain from evil, as it says in First Thessalonians, the fifth chapter, right? Abstain from all evil. Okay, so you're doing everything possible, right, to make sure that you're walking on the right path. Same thing with driving. You don't need to be texting and driving, you know, and on the phone and shit, you know, ain't paying attention, right? Now I'm doing it, you know, I'm doing this live, right? I'm driving, but I have my headphones in. So I don't have to hold my phone, I don't have to touch it, you know, I can look while I'm driving and you know, I don't have to look down at my phone. I can just keep on driving because I'm talking with my headphones in, right? Now eventually, you know, when a video over with, you know, I'm gonna have to stop it. But I'm focused on driving, okay, trying to get to my destination, man. And the same thing with the truth. You got to keep on going, man. Keep on going, all right, until you get to your destination, which is the kingdom of heaven. On our part, you know, you're gonna meet some troubles, right? Hey, you know, you're gonna have some accidents here and there, but you got to keep on going, keep on pushing it, man. All right, and drop them damn bad habits, okay, before you mess up getting to your destination, right? Because you want to have a major accident, you know, to where you through, right? To where your ass through, man. You want to make sure that you know, try your best to limit these bad habits, man. Okay, these you know, bad things about yourself, right? Trying to stay on point, man. That's the whole goal of the truth, man. And trying to stay on point, brother. You know, trying to get to your destination, man. And in order to do that, you got to be on point. Okay, as I was saying with driving, you got to be on point, bro. You know you driving trying to put your shoes on, and that ain't gonna work, brother. You can't drive and put your shoes on. Okay, you can't drive and put your pants on. You have, you know, certain women out there who drive while they're putting on makeup. That's not wise. Okay, I see it almost every day. With my job, you know, I got to drive to almost. Well, yeah, I do have to drive to every destination. You know, different customer houses, different businesses, and I see a lot on the road, man. I see a lot on the road. Okay, and I've had an accident. You know, I've been in a few accidents. Okay, in my job. One accident, it was my fault, but the other one wasn't my fault. But the accident that was my fault, bro, I didn't know how the hell that happened. You know, I came out of a out of a parking lot, you know, to make a turn, and as I made my turn, you know, I was turning left to the car that was coming. It was in the lane that I was turning in, and as they passed me, I hit the side of their car, bro. Scared the hell out of me, bro. Scared the hell out of me. All right. And it was an old lady. And I'm like, damn, cause you know, bro, I hit that car hard. But I wasn't driving fast though, you know. But since I was in a big F-250, you know, just barely kissing that car at the mileage that, you know, they were going, you know, turned it every which way, you know. But it was my fault, you know, for not seeing it. And plus, you know, it was pitch blackout that morning, or like 4 o'clock in the morning. It happened. At like 4 o'clock, yeah, in the morning. pitch black, you know, and me just not judging the situation properly, you know. So I looked and I saw the car coming, but I thought it was in the other lane, and that's why I turned for it. But being presumptuous like that made the accident happen. Okay, instead of actually sitting back and waiting on a car to pass me, being presumptuous, I just assumed, right? I assumed that the car was in the other lane, but being presumptuous called it an accident, right? That can happen to you in the truth. Being presumptuous about certain situations instead of waiting on things to play out, you know, it can get you in bad spots. I know all about that. Okay. I've been in a lot of messed up situations, being presumptuous in the truth and in my personal life, right? But you can't be like that. It's like you. Oh my goodness. Yeah, man, but you can't be like that, you know? So um, I'll close out with that, man. Just want to say a few things, through the spirit, I'm driving. The Lord willing to edify, man. I'll praise your heart by Shalom. Sorry about your Dash. Keep fighting, keep pushing out there, Shalom.